Straight to the top story this evening, India's top auditor has submitted its much-anticipated report on the Rafale fighter jet deal on the last day of the final session of Parliament under the current Modi government. Now, the CAG has concluded that the Modi government deal is 2.86% cheaper than the deal that was signed by the previous UPA government in 2007. However, the auditor also admitted that comparison of prices posed difficulties, and the report has redacted portions referring to specific breakup of the costs. Now, Defence Minister Nirmala Sitharaman had claimed on the floor of the Parliament that the base price of the aircraft under the 2015 deal is 9% cheaper than the previous deal. But the CAG report has refuted this, saying that the price of the basic flyaway aircraft in the current deal is the same as the 2007 deal. Now, the CAG report also notes that the 2007 deal entailed a 15% bank guarantee from Dassault against advance payments by the government. But the 2015 deal had no such bank guarantee, and the French provided only a letter of comfort. This was done despite the advice from the Law Ministry seeking a sovereign guarantee. The report concludes that the lack of bank guarantee meant savings for the vendor at the expense of the Indian exchequer. Another key reason the Modi government cited for reducing the number of jets from 126 in the 2007 deal to 36 in the new deal was the urgent needs of the Air Force. But according to the CAG, the schedule for delivery of Rafale jet under the new deal has improved by a mere 1 month. 71 months under the 2015 deal and 72 months under the 2007 deal. The report also notes that the Indian negotiating team expressed apprehension even about this delivery schedule. Rituparna Bhuyan joins us now. Ritu, what are the key highlights from the CAG report?
Well, firstly, as far as the price difference is concerned, it's 2.86% compared to the deal that was negotiated during the UPA government. And at the same time, it has given a breakup of how they arrived at that figure. And within that, it has also mentioned that as far as the basic flyaway aircraft is concerned, there is no price difference between the NDA and the UPA Rafale deals. That is one. Secondly, on price comparison, that is regarding the 2.86% price difference that this report notes. The CAG goes on to say, and I quote, the difference between the allied price estimated by the Indian negotiating team and audit, that is CAG, could be attributed to inconsistent price variation factors adopted by the negotiating team, alignment of quantities / scope of the two offers, and the difficulties of alignment itself, as stated earlier, unquote. And as far as the delivery schedule is concerned, the CAG report notes that there is a improvement of 1 month vis-a-vis the 2007 deal, but the negotiating team, according to CAG, had reservations on this delivery schedule, given the fact that Dassault already had a huge backlog of orders as far as Rafale is concerned. On the very important issue of sovereign bank guarantee, the CAG notes that there was a recommendation from the Ministry of Law and Justice that India should request France for a sovereign bank guarantee, which the French government refused and had instead offered a letter of comfort, which subsequently the Indian cabinet agreed. Now, on this issue, the Defence Ministry claims that because it did not pursue the sovereign guarantee, there were savings on account of that. But the CAG notes that this saving could actually be to the vendor, that is Dassault and other companies involved in this deal, compared to the deal that was negotiated in 2007. Then, of course, there is this issue of escrow account. Even on that, CAG noted that the French government had refused to open an escrow account as far as the payments that are to be made from the Indian government to the French suppliers are concerned, and hence the Defence Acquisition Council, which is headed by the Defence Minister, agreed to make payments directly to accounts of the suppliers, which would be, of course, monitored by the French government. Last but not the least, very interestingly, the CAG report also notes the fact that there was a counter-offer from Eurofighter, and Eurofighter had offered their aircraft at a discount. On that, the CAG noted that going by the DPP norms, it is not mandatory to carry on a government-to-government talk, especially on this case of the Rafale deal, based on the lowest bidder, that is Dassault, saying that the government could have if it wanted, pursued the Eurofighter counter offer also, but officials maintained that DPP actually does not does not allow that, and also you have several anti-corruption norms within the Indian government which does not allow bringing down the offer of an L1 bidder once the deal has been signed. So these are the different observations made by the CAG report that was tabled in Parliament today.
All right, Ritu, thank you so much for taking us through all those details. Now, the BJP was quick to claim vindication over the Rafale deal soon after the CAG report was made public, but the opposition party stepped up the protests. Now, the entire top brass of the Congress raised slogans outside Parliament, including Sonia and Rahul Gandhi, along with former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. Congress had asked for the CAG Rajiv Mehrishi to recuse himself as he was Finance Secretary when the deal was signed. But the then Finance Minister Arun Jaitley had hit back, saying Mehrishi had not seen any file or paper on the Rafale transactions during his stint at the North Block. Here is the political war of words.
Well, the CAG report has completely vindicated the stand of the NDA government. What does the CAG say? The NDA deal is cheaper. That's 2016 is cheaper than the 2007 transaction. The maintenance provisions are better. The delivery schedule is tighter. The transaction has been negotiated at a much faster pace. And they have not found anything fundamentally wrong with the transaction. I think what is particular about this transaction is there are some vested interests. Vested interests may have interest of either corporate rivals in mind or political opposition to the government in mind, or perhaps both, who have been trying to make this deal controversial. Well, the Congress stands for destruction of institutions. They destroyed every institution during the emergency. They attacked the Supreme Court. They've been attacking on EVMs, the Election Commission. They haven't spared the CAG.
So why are we not seeing what we are seeing here, which is the dissent note that they have placed? This is the officers saying, we do not agree with this new deal. This new deal is rubbish, this new deal is a con, this new deal is robbery. So why is this not here? Even if we say they have not talked about cost, and even if we say this document is not in this CAG report, FM said, Raksha Mantri FM and Modi ji made different statements on price, and they said that the new deal is between 9% and 20% better in financial terms. So the CAG report is saying that they lied in the first place.
क्या कैग ने ये पूछा है कि बैंक गारंटी हटाने से कितना नुकसान देश का हुआ है? 7% का। कैग को ये नहीं देखना चाहिए कि 36 जहाज और 126 जहाज अगर कीमत लगभग बराबर हो तो कितना फर्क है, वो कम है या ज्यादा है? कैग की एक रिपोर्ट है, सरकार ने लिखवाई है, जिस तरह से सुप्रीम कोर्ट से एक ऑर्डर लेकर आए थे, उसको पीएससी देखेगी और इसको स्वीकार नहीं किया जाएगा।
कांग्रेस को संविधान पर भरोसा नहीं, सीएजी पर भरोसा नहीं। जब जिस व्यक्ति को संविधान पर भरोसा नहीं, वो देश पर भरोसा क्या? राफेल में उनको दलाली नहीं मिल पाया है, इसीलिए बौखलाहट है। राफेल की दलाली रुक गई, दलाली के लिए ही डील इतने दिनों तक रुका था। बेचैनी इसीलिए है, इसीलिए मोदी फोबिया हो गया है। अब वो एक मेंटल केस हो।
Meanwhile, the budget session has come to an end in the Rajya Sabha as the upper house of the parliament has been adjourned sine die. Now, this means that two crucial pieces of legislation, the Citizenship Amendment Bill and the Triple Talaq Bill, will lapse on the day when the current Lok Sabha is dissolved. This as both these bills are pending with the House of Elders. Remember, the provision regarding lapse of a bill in the Rajya Sabha legislative procedure states that a bill which is passed by the Lok Sabha and is pending in the Rajya Sabha lapses on the dissolution of the Lok Sabha. The Prime Minister made his final speech before the 16th Lok Sabha. He praised the performance of parliamentarians cutting across party lines. Samajwadi Party leader Mulayam Singh Yadav created a stir when he backed the Prime Minister to return for a second term. Modi thanked Mulayam in his speech and even made a humorous reference to Rahul Gandhi's now famous hug and wink episode. Take a look.
मैं पहली बार यहाँ आया था, बहुत सी चीजें नई जानने को मिली जिसका कुछ अर्थ ही जिंदगी में पता नहीं था। पहली बार मुझे पता चला कि गले मिलना और गले पड़ना में क्या अंतर होता है। ये पहली बार पता चला मुझे। पहली बार मैं देख रहा हूं कि सदन में आंखों से गुस्ताखियां होती हैं। ये आंखों की गुस्ताखियों वाला खेल भी पहली बार इसी सदन में देखने को मिला और देश के मीडिया ने भी बहुत को उसको मजा लिया।
And Samajwadi Party founder Mulayam Singh Yadav sprung a surprise in the last sitting of the 16th Lok Sabha. The Yadav patriarch said that he would want Narendra Modi to get another term as Prime Minister. The statement assumes significance as his party, led by his son Akhilesh Yadav, has joined hands with the BSP's Mayawati to defeat the BJP in Uttar Pradesh. PM Modi thanked Mulayam Singh for his blessings.
प्रधानमंत्री जी ने सबको लेके चलने का पूरा प्रयास तो आपने जिससे सभा को चलाया है और सबको रखना बड़ा कठिन काम है, लेकिन फिर भी आपके पेपर के खिलाफ कोई नहीं बोलता है, न आप पर कोई टिप्पणी करता है। इसे विशेषकर बधाई और धन्यवाद आपको देता हूँ और मैं चाहता हूँ, मेरी कामना है कि जितने माननीय सदस्य हैं दोबारा फिर जीत गया। ये हमारी इच्छा है। प्रधानमंत्री जी आप फिर बने प्रधानमंत्री।
Things like the ongoing probe against Robert Vadra will keep happening, but I will continue to do my work. That's the word coming in from Priyanka Gandhi, the newly appointed General Secretary of the Congress. In her first interaction with the media after assuming charge as the party's in charge for Eastern UP, Priyanka also talked about her plan of action. Her counterpart in the Congress for Western UP, Jyotiraditya Scindia, also spoke to Network 18 and said that he was committed to revive the party in the state.
I'm learning a lot about the organization, about how it's structured and the changes that need to be made, and also about I'm getting their views on how to fight the election according to them.
रॉबर्ट वाड्रा से
ये चीजें चलती रहेंगी, मैं अपना काम कर रही हूँ।
ठीक है भैया जी।
You just had quite a long, grueling day.
It's not over yet.
What was it that came up?
We've had a long, grueling day, and it's going to be a long, grueling night. And I think this is going to be the first of such days and such nights, because UP requires hard work. UP requires perseverance. UP requires the voice of every worker and every grassroots person to be heard. And that is our job. The key priority is to revitalize the state. The key priority is to make sure that the right leadership in every single parliamentary constituency comes to the fore. And that's what we're working on. We are just about starting on this exercise. It's still it's going to be a lot of hard work and a lot of toil for which we are completely committed to.
It was another weak day of trade. On the last trade, the markets gave up all of its gains in the last hour of trade. The Nifty and the Sensex ended the day over 0.25% lower, with the Nifty slipping below that 10,800 mark. It was no different for the broader markets, with the Nifty Bank losing over 100 points to end close to 0.5% in the red. The mid-caps were in line with the benchmark indices. The battle between Reliance Communications and its erstwhile partner Ericsson rages on in the Supreme Court. Both sides presented their arguments in the Apex Court today, and Ericsson questioned how Reliance has the money to invest in Rafale but no money to repay any of its alleged dues. In response, Reliance Communications Counsel argued that it was agreed that only Reliance Communications would have to repay the dues, and hence no other ADAD group company was liable. Ashwin Kumar, who was present in the court with us. Ashwin, what were the other arguments put forth by both parties?
Right, so to begin with, today was the second time that that Anil Ambani had been summoned by the Apex Court. Anil Ambani did oblige. He turned up at the court at about 10 in the morning. He spent the next 5.5 hours in the Apex Court, stayed for the entire duration of the hearing. And well, speaking of the hearing itself, there were heated arguments exchanged on both sides. Ericsson's counsels argued that people like Anil Ambani appear to have money to invest in Rafale but do not have money to pay legitimate dues, going a step further and saying that they have lavish lifestyles, live in mansions, live like kings, but are not paying a legitimate amount that is due and payable to Ericsson. They essentially argued that there appears to be a conspiracy in works between the lenders as well as RCOM, that there's a definite strategy at play to deny paying that amount of 550 crore rupees to Ericsson, that this is a blatant violation of the Apex Court orders, given as how RCOM had undertaken before the Apex Court to make that payment of 550 crore rupees. Now, Arcom and Anil Ambani's counsels, on the other hand, however, argued that of the entire transaction that had been planned with Reliance Jio for 18,000 crore rupees, only 780 crore rupees has been received. That the mere act of putting the company under IBC wiped out 15,000 crore rupees off the market cap of the company, causing a personal loss of 7,500 crore rupees to Anil Ambani. Also going on to argue that there is no law in the country that makes the director personally liable in case the company defaults. And finally saying that as far as that payment of 550 crore rupees is concerned, it was always contingent on the Reliance Jio transaction, and that since that did not happen, there is no question of coming good on that undertaking. So with that, the Apex Court has reserved its judgment. All eyes now on the Apex Court to give clarity on the way forward. Back to you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for those details, Ashmit. Moving on, the National Company Law Tribunal has shown the green signal to Amtech auto lenders, who can now go ahead and start the insolvency process from scratch. This as it dismissed the bid submitted by Liberty House. Ritu Singh joins us now with the details. Ritu, what are you picking up?
That's right. NCLT Chandigarh bench has allowed the creditors of Amtech Auto to restart the process of corporate insolvency for the company from scratch. This after the selected winner, that was Liberty House, which was voted as the highest bidder by the Committee of Creditors in April last year, failed to make repayments to the lenders even after its bid was finally approved by the NCLT sometime in July last year. So now the process will be started from scratch, and instead of the usual 180 days, this time the NCLT has granted the Committee of Creditors about 140 days or a little over 4 months to complete the entire process of inviting bids and then selecting the final bidder. Also, because Liberty House failed to make these repayments within time, lenders have also been allowed to invoke Section 74 of the IBC, under which a person that does not honor the covenants of the resolution plan can be fined up to 1 crore rupees or even sent to jail for a period of anywhere between 1 to 5 years. That is also something that the lenders have been given a free hand to do. Do remember, the case was admitted into NCLT almost 20 months back, and the debt that we're speaking of is over 12,000 crore rupees.
All right, Ritu, thank you so much for those details. Private equity giant Blackstone is all set to buy Global Village Tech Park, a 100-acre commercial office facility in Bengaluru from VG Siddhartha. This is the Cafe Coffee Day founder's first step towards monetizing his assets. Mugdha Warrior brings us more details. Mugdha, take us through the valuation and the contours of the deal.
Yes, Blackstone is set to snap up the 100-acre Global Village Tech Park in Bangalore, which is owned by Coffee Day Group subsidiary Tanglin, and we understand that the deal could be as much as 2,700 crore rupees. Now, with sources are telling us this deal is currently in the due diligence stage and will be closed as early as March. Now, Blackstone is going in on this deal with Salarpuria Sattva, which will be the development partner. And remember, both these companies have worked together on tech parks in Hyderabad as well. Now, the move by VG Siddhartha to sell this park comes along with, his push to sell Coffee Day's 20% stake in Mindtree in order to pare the company's debt and also strengthen the balance sheet. But sources are telling us that the IT department is still to release, Coffee Day's stake, 4.5% stake in Mindtree, which it had attached last month. And remember, we had also reported that Coffee Day has appealed to the income tax department to attach Coffee Day's shares and release Mindtree's shares instead. Back to you.
All right, Mugdha, thank you so much for those details. And moving on, US President Donald Trump is reportedly not happy with the deal hammered out by the Republicans and the Democrats on border security in order to avert a second shutdown. He also remained non-committal on signing the agreement. So what exactly are Trump's concerns? CNBC has the story.
Sir, will you sign Congress's border deal? President Trump tonight unimpressed by that bipartisan border deal hammered out by congressional leaders.
Am I happy at first glance? I just got to see it. The answer is no, I'm not. I'm not happy.
Still, the president wouldn't say whether he would sign or veto the bill before another partial government shutdown at midnight Friday.
I don't think you're going to see a shutdown. I wouldn't want to go to it now. If you did have it, it's a Democrat's fault.
But tonight, instead of threatening to declare a national emergency, the president's now hinting he'll take executive action to redirect money to pay for the wall.
It's not doing the trick, but I'm adding things to it. And when you add whatever I have to add, it's all going to happen where we're going to build a beautiful, big, strong wall.
The deal would provide nearly $1.4 billion for 55 miles of new border barrier, no concrete wall, and far short of the $5.7 billion the president's demanded. The compromise immediately coming under fire from the president's conservative allies.
I'm getting details. $1.3 billion? That's not even a wall, a barrier? any Republican that supports this garbage compromise, you will have to explain.
It follows a combative Trump rally in El Paso last night.
We have suffered a totally dishonest media.
A man with a Make America Great Again hat attacked a BBC cameraman inside the cordoned-off press area. The man was removed from the arena, and the journalist was not hurt.
Let's address the breaking news that's just coming in. Venkataramanan has quit the board of Tata Trust. Kritika Saxena is here with all the breaking details. Kritika?
Well, Arundhati, we had reported a very short while ago that the Tata Trust board meeting is ongoing. The meeting of Sir Dorabji Trust happened today, and as a result of that, the entire Tata Trust has taken into cognizance a request for resignation by the managing trustee of the company, R. Venkataraman. Now, I'm just quickly going to go to the press release before I talk about the background of what led to this. The managing trustee of the Tata Trust, according to the press release, says that R. Venkataraman had informed the chairman and the trustees of the Tata Trust that he had been considering other options given that he was completing 5 years as managing trustee. At the meeting, his resignation has been accepted, and subsequent to that, a committee of trustees which comprises of Ratan Tata, who's the chairman of the trust, Mr. Vijay Singh, and Venu Srinivasan, the vice chairman of the trust, has been appointed to oversee the operations in the time being, in the interim till they appoint the next CEO and of course appoint the next chief executive of the trust. They have also appointed Noel N. Tata, the chairman of Trent and the managing director of Tata International, and Jehangir H.C. Jehangir, who is a long-standing philanthropist. They have been appointed as trustees of the Sir Ratan Tata Trust. Now, 4 trusts essentially together hold 66% stake in Tata Sons. Here's the background. About 2 months ago, in December, there was an income tax order dated for the year of 2016-2017 that had come to light, which removed the tax exemption that the Dorabji Ratan Tata Trust gets for all operations starting 2016-2017 onwards. Now, in that order, they said that the remuneration of R. Venkataraman was too high and was not in accordance with the deed of the trust. And as a result of that, they removed that exemption, the tax exemption, and that came up to be quite high. After that, there was a lot of conversation. There were a lot of repercussions of that particular tax order. And it seemed to be that post that, there were reports that suggested that post that R. Venkataraman had offered to resign in his own, on his own, rather than actually go through with some process of that. Now, what happens now? Will this mean that the tax order, the tax exemption is going to be removed? It's a question mark. Tata Trust is reportedly looking, and we have understood from our sources that they are going to be appealing that tax order. So we don't know what happens there. But yes, at this point in time, the main contention was his remuneration, and the person in contest here is now offered to resign, and his resignation has been accepted. And the reason that they have given here is that he was completing 5 years and that he is considering other options. So that is what the formal statement says, and they are going to be going ahead and looking at appointing a chief executive here on with the committee that is appointed by headed by 3 key senior executives of the Tata Trust.
All right, Kritika, thank you so much for giving us those details. So Venkataramanan there quitting Tata Trust. Thank you for those details, Kritika. With that, it is a wrap on this edition of Reporter's Diary. Many thanks for watching, but stay tuned to CNBC TV 18. RBI's February 12th circular completed a year yesterday. A special edition of Indianomics is coming up next.